let's go to the main event, and this is another one of those cards. It seems to be one of these things that happens to me where it's just like I'm back and forth. I'm just on the cusp of making money, losing money, making money, losing money, and then like almost like clockwork. The main event, I just seem to have a good solid read on these higher profile fighters, and it just seems to turn around for me where a lot of these cards I'm losing going into either the co-main or the main, and then it turns around and I'm like, oh, how did I make money tonight? But I did. And Derrick Lewis does it again, comes through as a plus 125 underdog, first round KO of Chris Daukaus, inside the distance plus 187, TKO plus 175, the under 1.5 rounds prop cash at plus 110, and then fight goes the distance no was probably a solid parlay piece. I didn't have any part of that, but yeah, fight goes the distance no comes through at minus 400, a solid parlay piece. There's no way this one was going to go the distance, although Lewis does have insane, I think one of the biggest decision wins ever, which is against Francis Ngannou, where he cashed at like 12-1 odds. But anyways, with that, Lewis improves to 17-6 since his 2014 UFC debut, and $100 bettor who has backed Lewis on the money line in this stretch has turned a profit of $1,204. Liam, what did you have on this one? What did you think?
Yeah, so pre-fight, nothing in terms of tracked bets. I was up pretty big on the night, so I was, effing around, throwing a little bit on my boy Chris Daukaus inside the distance at the plus 115 tag. I knew somebody was going down here. And honestly, I was just impressed by Derrick's performance. He did everything he needed to do. He's the bigger guy in this matchup. He needed to not let Daukaus run away with it early in terms of adding up strikes because Daukaus throws more and he throws a lot. And so he could get up on the strike count pretty fast if you let him. And, Derrick kept him away with some like big winging power shots. That's what he's known to do. I actually think that what really got Daukaus like scrambled from his game plan was a right kick to the face that he didn't see coming. And I think that Derrick is one of the few guys who's able to do that shit at heavyweight, like bring a kick up to your face. He's really athletic, where a lot of guys are not. They're like, maybe decent skills in one area of the game, but they're actually not good athletes. Derrick can do freaky shit, like do jumping switch kicks and throw a high kick right to your head in 1 second at heavyweight. So I think that made the difference. He was just a little more dynamic. I thought Daukaus had a lot of the right ideas coming in. He was touching with the jab. He was trying to hit him with the leg kicks, which is, pretty critical, I think, to beating Derrick. And he just got caught, and he's like 30 pounds less than Derrick. I was a little confused that the UFC made this matchup for Chris as like his next progression. I thought there was maybe a logical step in between here from the quality of competition he had been facing and the size to going up against a beast, truly, in every sense of the word, like Derrick Lewis. So that's why I didn't invest pre-fight here. Daukaus has been a absolute money train for me in the UFC. I bet on him in basically every fight. And in the last couple ones by KO 1 and KO in 1 and 2. And so I've had a pretty decent read. Thought that somebody was going to get finished here. So bet the unders 2.5, though. I bet alternates. And then I also bet the fight doesn't start round 3. I had fight doesn't go the distance in parlays. I had fight doesn't start round 4 and 5 in parlays. So yeah, I thought that this fight was definitely going to end early. I just didn't know who it was going to be. And I think Derrick Lewis, he maximizes his win condition more than almost anybody. He's a pretty knockout or bust kind of fighter, and he just seems to hit that condition a lot. So God bless him.
Yeah, I think that Daukaus is two things. I think one, he wanted to try to just fast track this pretty light or this pretty thin heavyweight division, pun intended. And I also think that he saw Derrick Lewis look really bad against Cyril Gane and was just like, I can beat this guy. But that being said, Cyril Gane is really good, and he makes really good fighters look really bad. So as soon as I saw...
How about Don'Tale Mays?
Yeah.
from earlier in this card, dude. I was like, oh, he's a D1 wrestler now? All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I said just as you said, I was confused that Daukaus took this fight, but he probably honestly, legitimately, as sad as this is, he probably wanted a payday before Christmas. He just quit his job with the police force, so that's probably why he took this fight. Is because the UFC needed a main event. They were gonna give him a boatload of money probably for it, and he took it. And this is what happens, and Derrick Lewis.
So you want to be a fighter, right?
Yeah. And again, I was so this was the easiest. This was, like as soon as we were done last week, I opened up CombatOdds.ca and I looked at the odds and I was like, Derrick Lewis is the underdog against Chris Daukaus. Like, that's the bet. And like that's it. That's my handicapping. I don't need to look at anything. Derrick Lewis should not be the underdog. Basically, against like 2 or 3 guys on earth, Derrick Lewis should not be the underdog. And at some point, someone's gonna figure this out. And yeah, like you said, Derrick Lewis has like the best UFC 4 move set. Like he just has the best like video game move set where he can do the jumping switch kicks and the spinning wheel kick and the high kick and stuff like that. It's just, especially at like 260. And yeah, he wrecked Daukaus easily. And all-time UFC KO king now with 13 knockouts. And yeah, I like I said, to reiterate what I just said, Derrick Lewis is a different kind of heavyweight. He's a classic heavyweight. He's more akin to that older generation of UFC fighters, but with the heavyweights, there's a lot of guys that are more one-dimensional. But he's one of the best heavyweights of all time, period. And he's one of those guys that he might go up to fight for the belt to 3 or 4 times in his career. He's already went for it twice and lost. He's going to be one of those guys that goes and fights for the belt because he might not be able to beat the very best in the division, but he could beat everybody else. Like he is the just the rock solid number 2 in the division. You look at his losses, Cyril gone. Look at his UFC losses at least. Cyril gone. And then the loss
JDS.
JDS,
in
who's
2019 was the scary one to me.
Also
world champion.
A world champion. And then he also lost to Mark Hunt, which is, a legendary striker. And that was in one of the times when, Derrick Lewis had a really bad back at a point in his career. And he took a whole bunch of time off and he got surgery and he came back and he rehabbed that back injury. And that's why he's kind of had this renaissance. But in my opinion, unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. And I don't care if he never wins a title. This guy he's one of the best UFC, at least heavyweights of all time, hands down. And with that said, the fight to make is Lewis versus Stipe, because why not? Like it's just.
I feel you. I mean, it's never been made before, so that definitely makes sense to me. And Chance is asking, is Derrick Lewis a gatekeeper? And I kind of thought so. But the more I think about it, I could definitely see what you're saying, Al, in the sense that he could fight for the title again. It's a thin division. I don't know though. Does Derrick Lewis? I'm just not sure about the Aspinalls and some of these guys that are on the come up. He's been getting away with this stuff, dude. But I'm telling you, what I saw on tape that made me think Daukaus had a chance is that he's a little bit slower now. And fast punchers have given him problems. Junior Dos Santos gave him problems, and Matt Mitrione, early in the UFC, fucked him up fast and just boxed him. And I think that people that try and wrestle this guy fucking die. That's what happens most of the time. And I think this time, Daukaus tried to strike with him and just got beat, but that could have been anybody's fight. Derrick's just a bigger guy, hits harder and more experience, so makes sense that he wins. I think when he steps into the higher level competition, he is still a little bit slow and a little bit plodding, and like I think Cyril Gane does the same thing twice if they fight again. Like
Oh yeah. Oh,
I would bet it
100%.
again way more the second time.
100%. And I never said he would have a shot. I'm saying apart from, and let's, for full disclosure, he has a
He could beat Francis again too.
And he has a win over Francis Ngannou, who is the champion.
Although,
right
dude,
now.
That fight, like literally,
I know
nothing happened.
And it's
nothing
literally
happened.
one of the worst fights of all time. And it's when Derrick Lewis he came back too fast from the back injury, and they were both gassed. That's literally goes down as one of the worst fights of all time. And but Derrick Lewis won. It's that simple.
By throwing 7 leg kicks, he beat him.
Yeah, and I'll say this to Chance Wagers, he's not gatekeepers. It kind of has like a disrespectful. It carries this disrespectful tone. But I say this with all due respect: Derrick Lewis is a gatekeeper for the very top of the division. Like I would say, Arlovsky is a gatekeeper for the top 15. Right, Derrick Lewis is a gatekeeper for the very best. Cyril Gane, Francis Ngannou, and now I'm saying Stipe. Let's put him in there with Stipe. And you said Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is one of the only other guys that I would be like, yeah, because it's those guys that are fleet of foot at heavyweight that Derrick Lewis has problems with, and Aspinall a lot more fleet of foot than Chris Daukaus. Yeah.
Good point.
This is a stupid question, but those two should probably cross paths. Daukaus and Aspinall. They kind of ruined that now with this. They kind of ruined that now.
They just need to get him one more win. I think give Daukaus 6 months off. Let him decide what weight class he's going to be. Probably heavyweight, but if he's going to be heavyweight, I think maybe let's get back to 242 or something. I think Stipe kind of learned this the hard way too. You just don't want to be too undersized against these bigger heavyweights. I think it's a problem. And I thought that Stipe against Francis in the second fight, like it was so evident the weight difference. Chance says Aspinall would spark Daukaus. I could actually see that too. So yeah, let's get my boy Daukaus some low-level heavyweights again to piece up. I was having fun when he was doing that.
Let's get him in there with Blagnoy Ivanov.
Yep, works for me.
Actually, that guy is a lot tougher than people give him credit for. I believe he went the distance with Derrick Lewis. So,
dude, I believe he got stabbed in the heart and kept living. So
no, in the stomach.
In the stomach. Yeah, you're right. He's got the scar to prove it.
Actually, I seen that dude fight live once. That guy is actually a lot better than we give him credit for. I don't think we've seen him since like 2019 though. I don't even know if he's still in the rankings. But anyways,
he is 13.
I can't remember. I think the last time he fought might have been Derrick Lewis. Anyways, so yeah, we go from. I guess that's a wrap for 2021 as far as the UFC goes. Just an inch, and we're going, from heavyweight to wrap up 2021 to the heavyweights to kick off 2022.